Listen, listen. I had to go live for this one. I had to, okay? I had to go live for this one because there's a move that the Ravens have to make right now. Well, I guess technically, if I'm not mistaken, it's got to be in about 2 hours, but still, it doesn't matter. I had to go live because this move has to happen. EDC got to be right beside the phone, ready to make this move as soon as the time is right. And there's no time like the present. Let's talk about it. Look, get your popcorn, get your drink. Real quick, we got to talk about this move that I think, honestly, could really improve the Baltimore Ravens. Let's do it right now. Let's go. All right, y'all, listen. I'm telling y'all, the Baltimore Ravens got to make this move right now. Welcome in, y'all. It's the Be More Show. We got to talk real quick. Be More Show live. We got to talk real quick about this move that the Baltimore Ravens have to make. And I think they got to make it right now. They got to make it before somebody else does. They got to make it before the Buffalo Bills scoop up a Matthew Judon when you have a problem in that area of the field. But anyway, that's just my opinion. I don't know why the Ravens didn't go back and go grab Matthew Judon, but they did. They didn't go grab Matt Judon. They decided to stick with the "we like our guys" situation. But look, here's the deal. This is just my thoughts. This is my opinion. Do not tax this to anybody else. This is my opinion. But look, I gotta tell y'all this. The Baltimore Ravens need to go get Trayvon Diggs right now. And y'all might be asking why. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens have a pretty talented secondary. I would say good, but that would be too the way they played, especially if we want to talk about last week against Malik Willis, good is not the way to describe them right now. But let me just make sure real quick that I got this right. All right. So the Baltimore Ravens at the cornerback position right now, right as we speak, right in this moment, okay? Starting corners, of course, you got Marlowe, right? You got Marlon Humphrey, and you got Nate Wiggins, okay? And then, of course, we know Awuzie's there, and we know T.J. Tampa's there. But really, I'm looking, and they got Kenny Martin, so they don't have a lot of depth at the corner position. They got, I mean, technically they do because they got 6 corners, but if something happens, especially to the 2 top guys, we talking about Nate, we talking about Marlowe, and even Awuzie with the way he's played, because I mean Awuzie's played well. Because I mean, let me just make sure I got this right. So I'm looking right now. Marlowe. So you got Marlowe and T.J. Tampa playing on one side. You got Nate Wiggins and Chuba Awuzie playing on the other side. And then you got Kenyon Martin playing nickel, where also Kyle Hamilton will play. So I just think this is a win-win deal for the Ravens if they can pull it off. Let me tell you why. First off, it's kind of weird. The Cowboys, I don't think it's a good thing that the Cowboys just waived Trayvon Diggs, right? They didn't wait for a trade partner or anything like that. I mean, Trayvon Diggs is what, in his 3rd year, maybe, right? And he was a shutdown corner just 2 years ago, right? So, whether or not it's his 3rd or 4th year is irrelevant, but it's just very interesting, right? I mean, Trayvon Diggs was probably the top corner in the league just a few years ago. And now he's without a job, could sign with a potential contender. I guess anybody who would be in the playoffs right now will be a potential contender. But it's very interesting, y'all. It's very interesting. I got to let y'all know. This is very interesting to me. I think the Ravens should pull the trigger on this move. And let me tell you why. Number one, the Ravens secondary has not been great. Now, it's like I said, all my opinions here, just want to preface that. The reason that the Ravens have not been good in the secondary, in my opinion, is because they don't have a pass rush. That's just me. Because when Mike McDonald was around, and it's not that the Ravens had a great pass rush, but the Ravens could still get pressure and sacks back then, right? They didn't have any sort of elite pass rusher by no means. But I will say this. They were able to get pressure, they were able to get sacks, and the secondary played better. They were turning people over, right? Now, this season, I feel like as of late, the Ravens have been better at turning people over and getting intermediate pressure here and there. But also at the same time, I'm sitting here thinking you can never have, I'm always the guy you can never have too much. You can't have too many wide receivers. And because teams can't have too many wide receivers, you can't have too many corners. And here's my thing. Can I tell you why I feel like it's kind of a win-win type of situation for the Baltimore Ravens, right? The reason that I think it's a win-win type of situation for the Baltimore Ravens is this. Put this back to the front here. The reason I think this is a win-win type of situation for the Baltimore Ravens is this. It's similar, and I understand y'all gonna be mad at me for saying this name, right? Because it didn't work out for the Ravens or any team he went to after that. But let's go back to Deontay Johnson, right? You trade for, it's a trade, of course, that time, so it's a little bit different. But you trade for Deontay Johnson, didn't trade much. You trade for Deontay Johnson to add to your wide receiver depth, and he's practically on a prove it deal, right? He's practically on and honestly, I think Trayvon Diggs would be even more on a prove it deal than Deontay Johnson at that time would have been, right? Because Deontay Johnson had just been in Pittsburgh and he had been there, done that. That's just how it was, right? And then in Carolina, he had shown at least some glimpses of hope there, right? So I think Trayvon Diggs, coming off a season where it feels like he was struggling a little bit, it feels like he's floundering out of that top DB conversation. I think this is the perfect time to pick him up, add to your secondary depth. You got a guy who is kind of a veteran in the league at this point, right? I feel like he can learn your system pretty quick, and he's got the talent. I think the talent is there. Now, this is my thing about Trayvon Diggs, and this is kind of my pushback to my own point, right? I don't know if y'all do that. I do that sometimes on this show. This is my pushback to my own point. My pushback to my own point is coaching, right? Is Zach Orr good enough to get the best out of Trayvon Diggs? Absolutely not. I'm just gonna be honest. He's just not. He's not a good enough coach to do that, right? Because situationally, he's not. I don't think he's gonna put him in the proper positions to be successful. That's just me, right? Is John Harbaugh situationally good enough to know what to say, to talk to Zach Orr and say, hey, we want this guy here, here, and here. I just don't see it right now with the way this team is constructed. I just don't. Coaching staff wise, I think the team is talented, super talented. That shout out to Elon to be, she had mentioned in the last video we did. This team is super talented, but in terms of putting guys in the proper positions to be successful, this team doesn't do that. This defense especially doesn't do that. It's just how it is, right? It's just how it is. So I mean, look. So I think this move should be done. I just do. I don't know of any other, to me, and this is just my opinion, but to me, there's probably 3 ways to improve this defense. Get DB help, get pass rush help, get a new coach. A new coach ain't happening right now. It's just not, right? That change, it's too late in the season to make that change. I mean, personally, I don't think it is, but it could be, right? I think realistically, it's too late in the season. It's not going to happen. It's just not something they're going to do, right? They would practically have Chuck Pagano be the interim, right, DC, and have Zach Orr be the DC in name only, right? So there's that. So a new coach is not happening. Pass rush help, I don't know if there's anybody out there really, realistically, right? I don't know if there's anybody out there. I mean, there probably is a couple guys. I don't have them off the top of my head, but there's probably is a couple of guys who could help right now, but I just don't see it. I don't see that being the move that's made. It's not like if Max Crosby was released, right? Just hypothetical speaking, right? If Max Crosby was released and you had the chance to go pick him up, I think you would, right? I think anybody would. Honestly, I don't think anybody would. But that's just my opinion. This is just my opinion, right? Like I said, third on the list would be DB help, because it doesn't hurt to have DBs that are going to play better. And right now, Awuzie seems to be the most consistent guy. The other thing too, to factor in, and feel free to let me know down below what you guys think. But the other thing too, to factor into this conversation is Marlon and his health. Because I think he's already practically playing with one arm, right? He's not fully 100%. And it would just help if you had another guy who's been there, done that, been around the league, probably could pick up things pretty quickly, probably has the instincts to pick up things pretty quickly. It would be nice to have that extra depth. That's just me. And for it to not be TJ Tampa or Keon Martin. That's just my opinion, right? And I get it. I know sometimes people feel like you're kind of name dropping, right? Like you're going to get the big name to fill in for what's going on. But this is just my opinion, right? This is my opinion. I think it would be a big move. I don't think it is the move that could possibly create a Super Bowl run. I'll talk about that in the next video. I don't think it's a move that could create that scenario, but I think it could help a defense that tends to struggle, especially when you need them the most. Especially when you need them most. But let me shout out to my live people hanging out with us real quick. Shout out to you. You're angry. I don't know if it's because I'm a Ravens fan or what, but shout out to you regardless. You was here. You was hanging out with us. You hit the comment. I appreciate you. Carolina, look. Listen, I'm cool with the Panthers. Okay, I'm cool with the Panthers. Okay, I'm cool with it. Or you might be talking about the Hurricanes. I don't know. Look, I'm cool. I'm cool with it though. Shout out to you as well. Yo, what's up? How you doing? But look, I think you was on before, not too long ago. But look, this is the move I feel like the Ravens got to make. I think they should make it. Like I said, and I'm gonna wrap up. I think this is a win-win. It's a win-win move. And let me tell you why one more time. It's a win-win move because Trayvon Diggs is on a would be on a prove it deal at that point. You bring him in for a year. You hoping to go on a little bit of a run here. You bring him in, get him acclimated to the defense, get him acclimated to the times that he will be playing. You can re-sign him next year on a prove it deal. Now you sitting here. Now let's just say Marlon goes, right? Let's just say he does. You got Trayvon Diggs on a potential prove it deal. You got Nate Wiggins, first round corner. You probably, I don't know if Awuzie will be back. I just don't know. But you can find another Awuzie, right? You can find another veteran guy who can step in. Of course, you got TJ Tampa, right? And Keon Martin possibly, right? But I think if Marlon goes, Trayvon Diggs could potentially step into that role. I think this is my opinion. Nate Wiggins steps into the role that Marlon plays now, and the top corner role, and then Trayvon Diggs still kind of having to prove himself a little bit, but it's a cheaper deal, right? You get Trayvon Diggs on a cheaper deal, and with the right coaching, and I think Zach Orr's gone after this year, but with the right coaching, Trayvon Diggs could get back to where he needs to be. That's just my opinion, right? Let me know down below what y'all think. Should the Ravens go sign Trayvon Diggs, or should this just be another one that they just let go and once again trust our guys, or like our guys, I should say. But look, y'all, let me know down below what y'all think. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me. Look, we got to get up out of here, but I definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. I think they should go get Trayvon Diggs. Let me know what you think. Look, we got to get out of here. I'll see you guys on the next episode of the Be More Show. Until